so nice to see you again. Good to see you too. Let me introduce you to who has joined us today. I am Ms. McClish, Dan's general education teacher. This is Mr. Williams, our principal. We also have Miss Todd, she's Dan's tutor. And we also have Mr. Smith, Dan's special education teacher. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. And we can just dive right in now. I'd like to hand you a copy of the parent and student rights as well as the reports that we've all written. I will also give you a copy of the IEP, that's the very bottom paper. This is what we are going to discuss today. And once we discuss everything and make sure it works for everyone, we will sign it then. The purpose of today's meeting is to review Dan's individualized education plan, which we will be referring to as an IEP. This will help us help Dan to grow as a student and help him where he's currently struggling. We are here today to help Dan in every way as we can, as well as help you. If you have any questions or concerns at any time, please feel free to mention them, okay? Okay. All right, so my report is the second page printed. It is on the yellow paper. I have discussed how Dan is currently performing. Although Dan does have some struggles, I want to first point out Dan that he has many strengths. He has a great sense of humor, and he's made many friends in the classroom, and they are always willing to help him whenever the need arises. He is also doing wonderfully in the math curriculum. His latest test scores are provided, as you can see, about halfway down. And as you can see, he's done wonderfully on every test. There's no problems there in math. When materials are read to Dan, he understands what is being read, and he can easily comprehend the facts and know what he needs to do when he's listening to it. He can also pick up on clues from his peers when directions are given on what needs to be doing, but that just slows him down, so only once in a while does he know what he needs to be doing, and that's usually when he's following 1- and 2-step directions. Where we're currently seeing him struggle is with his reading. He is unable to apply decoding strategies to one or multi-syllable words. He is currently reading 110 words per minute with 8 to 10 errors at a second grade level, and because of this, it affects his involvement in just general curriculum. His oral reading is slow and labored, and it is also hard for him to understand written directions on tests. Now that we've talked about Dan's present level of performance, we will discuss the goals we have set for him, but first, do you have any questions or concerns?
Just his problem following directions, does that cause any disruptions in the class? Is he causing any problems?
No, not at all. It doesn't cause any disruptions in class. He just has a hard time focusing on all the steps he needs to be following, and that causes him to fall behind the other students because he's constantly looking to them to see what he needs to be doing, whereas the other students just know what they need to be doing. If it's 1- to 2-step instruction, he knows what he needs to do. It's where it's a whole bunch of instructions, he can't quite remember what he needs to be doing. But no disruptions at all. Okay, so we have come up with 5 goals we would like Dan to accomplish by the end of the academic year, and they are printed on the red paper. The first goal we have set is, given a 3rd grade reading passage, Dan will read the passage aloud with 98% accuracy at 115 words per minute by May 31st. So not only is this a different grade level completely, right now he's reading at 2nd grade, we want him to read at 3rd, it's also 5 more words per minute and with 98% accuracy. So that's only about 3 or 4 words missed. Okay. The second goal we have set is giving writing assignments in the general curriculum. Dan will edit his writing for spelling, punctuation, and grammar with fewer than 8 overlooked errors per 10 words without assistance, also by May 31st. The third goal is, given verbal direction during class time, Dan will follow directions by utilizing his tutor when needed and repeating back instructions at least 80% of the time by March 1st. So I kind of want to elaborate here. We're going to have 2 different goals with his direction following, just because once we do that, I think that everything else will follow so easily behind. So his tutor is Mr. Smith, of course, and he sits with Dan during times where he struggles. And so I also want you to know that many students have tutors, so it's not anything bizarre that students are like, why does Dan have a tutor? Nobody thinks that. There's multiple other students in the class with tutors, and they're just there at certain times. It's not an all-day thing. So with the first direction goal, we are gonna have his tutor write the directions in the notebook that Dan has provided, and this way Dan can look back at them and say, oh, I'm done with this, this is what I need to do next. So that's our first goal, and we wanna have that done by March 1st. So it's a short-term goal, so it's before the other goals are met. We also want him to repeat back instructions. So I do this a lot in the class when I say, I want you to go get a book from the blue bin. What color bin are we getting it from? And the class shouts back, blue. So just once they hear it and say it, that kind of helps. And I think that will help Dan too if I really make sure that he is saying it, and if we pull him aside to his tutor or whatever, and the tutor's like, what color bin? What do we need to be doing? What are we working on first? So that's what I want to do with repeating back. The next goal is a long-term goal. This will also help Dan with the understanding directions. Given verbal directions during class, Dan will independently follow each step using his notebook at least 90% of the time by May 31st. So after our first one has been met by March, I want to start fading the tutor out and making it so Dan is writing down the instructions. And the instructions are always written on the board, but I think it would be good for him to have them in hand to not get distracted on his way up there and back down and all of that. So that's what we're really going to start working on too. And lastly, this is the last goal we provided. Given a list of 52-syllable words, Dan will be able to read the list sounding out as needed with 90% accuracy by May 31st. So after reading these goals we have made, do you have any questions?
What can I do at home to help with this?
Great question, perfect. At home, I want you to try to do the following, which I have listed out on the green paper. There's a little checklist there that I think will help you help him.
Okay.
First, I want you to try and do at least 20 minutes of reading at home each day. I want him to be doing the reading. I want him to read to you, and I want you to only help him when he needs it. Not when he first starts struggling with a word. Let him really try and sound it out with him. Make sure he is also getting the words correct, but also the punctuation, stopping at the periods, pausing for a second at the commas, asking a question when there's a question mark. Really make sure, because once that happens, the reading just comes so much more easier when you also understand the punctuation. I would also like you to encourage him to use his journal every day and just write whatever he would like. Has he told you anything about his journal?
I've heard a little bit about it.
Okay, so this is just, all the kids have a journal, and his journal, we've really been, writing the directions in it and all of that so he can follow it. Mr. Smith writes a lot of what is in it, but if you just encourage him to write anything in it, just what we did today, it doesn't even have to be school related, just him writing, because the more he writes in it just about whatever, the more he's going to enjoy writing, and then he's going to be more comfortable with it and want to do it, and it's just going to be easier for him to learn. I've also provided flashcards. They're on the orange paper. Those are yours to take home, and they have many 2-syllable words on them, which you can practice saying with him. I feel he does really good with flashcards. We've done it a lot in school during just one-on-one time, and he does better with the flashcards because they're new, there's something, it's kind of fast-paced, and I feel like he more likes that, and it keeps his attention more.
Okay.
So you can do that and just practice saying with them. Again, make sure he's saying them, and you're only helping when needed. I understand this is a lot of things to do, and I want you to know we will be working with him and doing these same things here at school, so it's not just you doing them and us good luck. We're helping too, we're doing the same things. All of this right here, he's seen before. He'll know, he's not unfamiliar with it, so he'll be comfortable doing it. Also, as time goes on, his skills will improve. It's going to make him more comfortable with this material and more comfortable in the classroom, and soon 20 minutes is going to go by so fast, and it's not going to feel labored and all of that. So, do you think you can accomplish these things at home with him?
I think we can definitely do this at home.
Perfect. I would also like to share that Mr. Smith has volunteered to help Dan after school with his reading homework during the after-school program, if that is something you're interested in doing.
Wow, yeah, we would be very interested.
Okay, wonderful. So you guys can just meet after and set that up a time and the dates that work for you? Perfect. Okay, well, I feel like we've really accomplished a lot in this meeting. Is there anything anyone would like to add or change to the IEP that we've made?
I don't think I have any more questions.
Okay. So, all right, with everyone in agreement about the plan, I will have you sign here. I'll have everyone sign. wait, where it says parent. Perfect. These are your copies to take home, and then I will also make a copy of this and all of the information that was included in it, and I will send it home with you in the mail. Does that sound good with you?
That works for me.
All right. It was really great to see you guys again, and I look forward to seeing how Dan progresses through the school year.